Hi, my name is Dana Arnett, co-host of Wicked Marketing, along with my partner, Carlos Sapene. You can find more information about us and our business on LinkedIn, or if you have any questions, email us at info@wickedbionic.com. Subscribe to Wicked Marketing on Apple Podcasts and write an awesome review for us. We're also on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Google Play. Thanks for listening.
Hi, I'm Dana.
And I'm Carlos.
And welcome. So glad to have everybody here listening today. We have a special guest, somebody that really encouraged Carlos and I to start our Wicked Marketing podcast, Miss Catherine Gray. She is the host of a very popular podcast called Invest in Her. She's a producer of a series called She Angels and the co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. And I do want to say, Catherine, what that is. It's a mission to fund female-founded nonprofits that are providing funding, mentorship, and resources to female entrepreneurs. Okay, could you do any more for women?
Right on. I want to be the ambassador for the funding of women.
I think you already are, right? Oh my gosh. It's so good to have you here. We think that I've always said that you are really the truest believer and leader in women's empowerment. You know, I mean, really, you've been that I think we've known each other for 5 or 6 years now, and you really have such a passion, Catherine. Where does that come from?
Oh, thank you so much. Well, you know what? When I recognized that women get less than 15% of funding and men get 85%, I was like, whoa.
Wow.
This is a real imbalance. And I just couldn't sit on the sidelines and not get in the game and say, what can we do about this? So really, everything I'm working on, every platform is how can we change that? I'm a big believer that film and television is what changes culture. As you know, Dana and Carlos, years ago, I did a PBS series documentary called I Can't Marry You about gay marriage.
Yes.
And, you know, look at us now. All of those films really did help change the way people think about same-sex marriage. And here we are. And I just got married a couple years ago, and that never would have happened. So, wow. You know, TV and movies are so powerful in helping educate people. And right now I've found that educating people on the imbalance of funding for women is so eye-opening to most people. Most people have no idea that we only get 2% of venture capital and less than 15% of just regular funding for our projects. And
I bet it's a door opener. I bet it's a real door opener when you tell people.
It is. And so the Invest in Her podcast, we interview, you know, founders and funders, because there are plenty of founders that women that are making incredible products, but, you know, they need funding. And so we have these incredible female funders that we showcase in our series, our She Angels TV series that is coming out next year. And they are trying to create, like, instead of book clubs, like investment clubs around the country. And there's some of them starting out there already. There's Golden Seeds, and up in Orange County, one of our angel investors in the program started OSEA, which is a angel investment group that teaches women how to be angel investors. So there's really two components to this.
The other side, that's great.
Yeah, there's the profit side where women can invest in other women and learn how to be angel investors for a profit. And then there's the She Angels Foundation nonprofit side where philanthropists can give to female-founded nonprofits that are actually helping women business owners with resources and funding and mentorship. So I think it takes all of those platforms, both profit and nonprofit, to help lift up this funding of female founders.
And I love that about you, Catherine, that you are not only for women and for the benefit of women funded, but that you are so positive about it, right? And you're never sort of putting down like any of the male funded side. You're just about let's correct this imbalance. Let's help everyone have a more distributed piece. I do have some statistics that I think are essential to share here. So I
love that about you guys. You are the marketing gurus.
Yeah, and I'll be that guy, right? So I just want to read a couple of them. The first one's from Forbes, and it comes more from the private space. private tech companies led by women achieve 35% higher ROI than private companies, tech companies led by men. So that's the first thing to know.
Wow.
The second thing to know is women-funded companies in first-round capital portfolios outperformed companies founded by men by 63%. Wow. So if you're looking at funding a company, if I tell you have, let's forget women or men, if I tell you have company A and company A is going to perform for you, but company B is going to outperform company A by 63%, where would you put your money?
So
right?
You think they'd be throwing the money at the women, right? Mm-hmm. But it's just what you just said, company A, company B, and you don't know which is which, a man or a woman. And believe it or not, there's been women out there that have literally submitted pitches to investors with men's names on it, just to get their attention and get funding and get it looked at. And isn't that crazy?
It's incredible.
Well, it's going backwards in our society, right? When we had to write books that were
what I've been seeing, in this world of COVID is like at the SBA loan level, right? Which is a more balanced level, right? 57% of SBA loans have gone to women-funded or women-owned companies. So if places like government, where there is that mandated blind side to whether, and there's actually set-asides that say you have to fund for women, right? If they can do it, why can't we do it in the private marketplace and fund some of these projects, knowing that they're so much more effective, knowing that women ask on average for 25 to 30% less money than men and achieve 63% better results. Why would you not look at this as a huge opportunity? It's a no-brainer for me, right? You're investing less, or you need less money to gain much higher return on it.
Why is that? Why do you see that? Is it just lack of knowledge, or is there a perception? What do you think that is, Catherine?
I definitely think it's a perception, because even the women that I know in this space, these angel investor women, will say that men will ask women different questions than they'll ask men. Mm-hmm. Like, men, is it like, how big can you grow? But it's like with women, it's a different perspective. Like, how can you stay with your head above water? It's a perspective that our society has created. And once we change that perception, which is what all my platforms are aiming to do, is to see that there's all these incredible, smart women out there with incredible ideas that are game changing. The Dalai Lama says the Western women will save the world. And I say, well, yeah, but how will they do that without funding? But they really are coming up with game changing ideas. What I've learned from the angel investors involved in our She Angels TV project is that, and they're on the front lines, they're on these panels with men, and they've said that people tend to invest in who they identify with. And so if a woman is pitching to all men, and usually all white men, often they won't identify with her product or service, where a woman may very well identify with her product or service. And that's why we need more women on the investment panel. Because sometimes people will say to me, why are you always pushing for women to get behind women? What about men? And I say, yeah, how's that been working for us, number one? And number two, it's because they don't always identify with the product or service or the person. We tend to invest in ourselves.
Right. Well, that's marketing right there, right? When we market to the right groups that would identify with the product or service.
But I love what you're saying there, Catherine, because that's a different way of looking at it. The challenge is not to get men to identify with products that are more women-centric or that are brought up by women. It's getting women in those decision-making positions that have the sound backing of funding in order for them to be able to help other women. I think the one thing that I love about women, and I see it across the board always, is that, and you see it in all the women that are in leadership positions across the world, right? Like prime ministers and stuff like that, that women tend to, because of their experience, you guys tend to understand better the efficiencies that need to be in place for things to happen correctly. I think it's one of the main reasons I partnered with a brilliant woman, Dana Arnett, who controls and manages all the finances and all that kind of stuff that I don't want to. But it's this concept of you tend to relate better. One statistic that I got that really resonated with me is that 64% of new women-owned businesses are being started by women of color. So even to that level, women are outpacing the adaptation of men, right? So women are giving women of color opportunity within the space at a level that's unmatched in any way by the male industry. So even within that, to your point of men not being able to connect with products that don't relate to them, it's not only at the women and men level, but it's also at the men and men of color level that there isn't those opportunities. So the way that you change that is by initiatives like yours, where you're not only highlighting the funding side of it, but you're highlighting the women that are funding that side of it. And I think that's one of the things that I
really, really love. If somebody wanted to get involved in the SheAngelsFoundation.org, what is it what kind of levels of things can they offer or help or be part of to grow?
Right. Well, women can get involved so easily in a couple different levels. One is, like you just said, the SheAngelsFoundation.org is a membership. And when you become a member, 100% of your membership is tax deductible. And it is going to help female-founded nonprofits that are helping women to prosper through mentorship, funding, and resources.
Excellent.
So it's being well spent. But it's also like a club because once you're a member, you get to come to the online and offline gatherings of powerful, amazing women that are like yourself.
Heavy hitters in there, Catherine. Really great group.
Really great group. I mean, these are very accomplished women and altruistic and kind and wonderful. Powerful doesn't mean you're not kind and altruistic.
Or intimidating.
Both.
Right. Amen. It's a warm, kind group. I love the way you said that. Yes.
Yeah. And so that's part of it. And then the other side, the Invest in Her podcast series is us talking to founders and funders. And the whole premise of that and our She Angels TV program is helping educate women to become actual angel investors. I think people are afraid of something that they don't know or understand. And that's why it's great. These groups are popping up that they can go and learn and be taught how to be an angel investor. It's so simple. There's not a big barrier. You could put your money together with other women in a collective for as little as $500, or, if you have $25,000 to invest, there's no barrier to entry there except just taking the initiative to learn it and be a part of it. And how exciting to get to see all the new innovations that are coming out by women, for women around the world, and be a part of that. If you're not an inventor yourself, how wonderful to get behind someone who is and leave that as your legacy to create some game-changing, world-changing product or service.
Well, and who thought that I could take $500, join with, and women love joining with other women, join with a group of women. So now I've met another group of women that I'm a part of, and then support a woman and her business and watch it grow. I mean, that's a really great, we always thought philanthropy at whatever level was untouchable by the majority of people, correct? So it's like the fact that I can be a part of at any level is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, we give $25 here, $100 there, $500 there, but we don't really see the results of it. So it's really exciting to, like on our online Zoom the other day when we had a group of the members and we unveiled a grant to one called People's Pottery Project that was actually helping teach pottery making to formerly incarcerated women who have no skill set and no business acumen, and teaching them how to make a business out of that wow, to think your money's going to help someone like that who's really lost and forgotten. So like I said, the philanthropy side has its pluses, and then investing in other women's businesses is just as important. I want to emphasize how important it is to do both, be a philanthropist and invest in another women's business if you're in a position to do that, because we just need more female funders.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And I don't think that it's from a lack of interest as much as it is maybe from a lack of knowledge and access to places like yours. And that's why I think it's pivotal to get the message out there that there are places like this, that people should look into it more. If people want to learn more about both, She Angels and Invest in Her, do you have like a central place that people can go to and learn more about all these projects?
We do. I'm the producer of the 360 Karma Productions. So our site is 360karma.com, and that houses all of our projects. And then SheAngelsFoundation.org has its own site, and that's our nonprofit, our 501(c)(3). So, we would love people to tune into the Invest in Her podcast to learn about being an investor. And also we have on fabulous founders with their innovative projects that are upcoming that someone might want to invest in. So it's a very exciting show to follow and see what women are up to. They're incredible. Women are amazing. They have amazing inventions and ideas that really will help make the world a better place. And they just need the funding.
Yeah. And I really hope that those in our listener base that are that enjoy philanthropy, right? That enjoy giving to others will think about, is that the outlet that I am making the most impact in, or are opportunities like this where I will be with a group of like-minded people that are looking to improve the lives of others, but really also interact with people in a way that you're going to network and grow your base of like-minded people. It's a unique opportunity, right? Because especially for people that either have been investing on their own or that have been looking for a group where they can bring their ideas, they can fund other people's ideas, they can see what happens with those ideas, that there is a place for women to do that. It's a very unique experience for people. And I really hope that our listeners will take advantage of that.
And so, Catherine, because I just have to say, because I love stories, and I think everybody identifies with stories, that was beautiful about giving the grant to the woman. Can you give us one or two other opportunities where She Angels, I know, has invested in a couple of different businesses, so people understand the power of the businesses that and the opportunities that women bring that share with you that could use funding?
Sure. And I meant to mention People's Pottery Project is headed up by a phenomenal artist named Molly Larkey, and she started that. Also, I wanted to talk about the incredible advisory board we have, and that ties into your question, Dana. So on our advisory board is Chef Kat Cora. And Kat Cora was the first woman to win Iron Chef. She's been on a lot of TV shows. She's phenomenal. And she also was the first woman inducted into the Culinary Hall of Fame. Can you imagine? I mean,
that's something. And
there's never been a woman. It's unbelievable. So she started Chefs for Humanity. And that's another one that the SheAngelsFoundation.org is going to get behind with a grant. She does an annual internship where she brings in an up and coming chef, brings her to her Santa Barbara locations where she has Mesa Burger, one of her 18 restaurants, and teaches them things about being a chef as well as all the business aspects so that they can be a successful restaurateur. So, because only 7 or 8% of female chefs own their own restaurants. And so she's on a mission to help change that. So you can see we really have a diverse spectrum of types of businesses, nonprofits that we're getting behind. And that's another exciting one. I also wanted to mention that I started the She Angels Foundation with an extraordinary woman, Catherine Curry Williams, who had a very successful nonprofit for the past 23 years with her husband, Scott Williams, who is one of the creators of the TV show NCIS. He's a producer and writer. Mm-hmm. And together, they've raised over $70 million to create handicap accessible playgrounds for children around the world, on every continent. And so what more expertise could I have come to the table to help us start the She Angels Foundation than what Kat Curry brings to the table to help us build this? And right out of the gate, we just started this a couple months ago and we raised over $50,000. And, we're going to keep growing from there.
So much more to go.
Yeah, and creating the TV platform is going to help us build that too, because awareness is everything, as well as the podcast. So, people can find us at also on social media, of course, at She Angels, Instagram, Facebook, and
then go find the Invest in Her podcast and go listen right now. After you listen to Wicked Marketing and Catherine Gray, you listen to Invest in Her.
Yes, of course, we're on Apple and Spotify and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find Invest in Her, and our website is investinherpodcast.com, which is on our 360 site. So, I mean, everything I'm working on, each one helps to do one single vision, like I said, and that is to fund women. How do we change this? You know what? We can change it, and we're going to change it, and you can be a part of it.
Absolutely.
That's brilliant. I will say this, just to wrap up, for anyone that is thinking about why I should invest in women, this statistic here from the Women's Business Enterprise National Council. Businesses run by women produce $1.8 trillion a year. So if you're wondering if you're going to make money by investing in women, with everything that Catherine has covered of how little of funding, of opportunity currently goes to women, they are still able to generate $1.8 trillion with a T, $trillion for
a lot of spending power, yes,
and have generated over 500,000 jobs just by virtue of their startups in the past few years. So just something to think about.
That's a great stat, Carlos. Really, really well done. I want to read something on the She Angels Foundation org as a segue to our goodbye. And I have sirens in the background, but I don't care. Okay, there's nothing like the transformative power of the collective spirit of women. And I think, Catherine Gray, that describes you like nobody's business. And really, thank you for all that you do for women. And thank you for being our guest today.
Well, thank you both so much. I know you all, helped build out my website, and you guys are just marketing rock stars. I learned so much from your show every week. So thank you so much for having me as a guest. I'm so honored, and hope you guys will find us on at She Angels on social media, and check out our podcast on Apple, Invest in Her. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Catherine.
Thank you for listening today. Don't forget to subscribe to and share Wicked Marketing on Apple Podcasts and write an awesome review for us. We are also on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Google Play. See you next time.